Happening now, the controversial online streamer known as Chud the Builder is making an appearance in a Nashville courtroom. Dalton Eatherly faces 3 misdemeanor charges stemming from a May incident at Bob's Steak and Chop House inside the Omni Hotel. Investigators say Eatherly live streamed inside the restaurant after staff asked him not to, then refused to pay. Eatherly also faces separate felony charges in Montgomery County for a shooting investigation. During Eatherly's court appearance, one investigator on the stand recalled the shooting.
Shots are shown to be fired prior to them hitting the ground.
Shots are being shown to have been fired prior to that?
Yes.
And how do we know that?
I can see, or in the courthouse video, it shows the casing ejecting from the firearm. It also shows the ricochet off the concrete planter.
Okay.
Prior to them hitting the ground.
So Mr. Fox hadn't been hit at that point, correct? If you're seeing a ricochet in one casing.
I'm going to set just a bond right now after we have our bail hearing, then I'll let you make all the arguments. We can go through all the factors in the statute and see if that gets amended up or down, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to set initial bond at $1.25 million. Based upon the fact of how many people in the courtyard, we're here at the courthouse, and the seriousness of all these felonies, and his bond status. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, the 26th at 9 o'clock, the 21st at 9 o'clock for a bond hearing, and then the 26th at 9 for a preliminary hearing right here. Does that work for everybody's calendar? General, does that work for the state?
Yes.
All right.
Just for the court's information and Mr. Finley, the state is going to request and file a source hearing when and if there's an attempt to make bond.
Okay. Is there any objection of us taking all those matters up at the bond hearing?
No, Judge.
Mr. Finley, do you have any objection to do it that way? That's the most efficient way, I think.
Judge, we'll try and have everything lined up for the court.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Finley, from you today?
No, sir.
All right. From the state? Okay. That'll conclude these proceedings today, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
A streamer claims he shot a man in self-defense outside a courthouse. For weeks, that was his story. He hit me first, I had no choice. But this week, a judge sat in a courtroom and heard something completely different. Surveillance footage, a shell casing hitting the ground, a bullet ricocheting off a concrete planter. And according to the investigator who reviewed it, the man he shot hadn't even been hit yet at that point in the footage. Okay, if you enjoyed this, make sure to follow, like, share with your friends and family, and drop your thoughts in the comments. All right. That timeline just blew up his entire defense. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why a judge looked at it all and decided this man does not get to walk free anymore. So who exactly are we talking about? His real name is Dalton Eatherly, 28 years old, known online as Chud the Builder. If you haven't heard of him, that's actually kind of the point. His entire brand was built on being as inflammatory as possible, live, on camera, for an audience. He ran live streams where he repeatedly used racist language and slurs against black people, often narrating his own behavior in real time as if it were entertainment. He also launched his own meme coin tied to his name, and according to his own streams, he openly admitted that controversy paid his bills. The more outrageous a clip, the more views, the more trading activity on his coin, the more money landed in his pocket. In other words, provoking outrage wasn't a side effect of what he did. That was the actual business model. This story actually starts with something almost comically small compared to what came next. On May 9th, Eatherly was at a steakhouse inside the Omni Hotel in downtown Nashville. According to police, he ran up a tab of just over $370, refused to stop live streaming when staff asked him to, and allegedly made racially charged comments toward employees when they confronted him. He's accused of telling staff he wasn't paying if they were going to kick him out, and then leaving without paying the bill at all. He was charged with theft of services, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest, all misdemeanors. He posted bond and walked out. But here's the part that matters most. One of the conditions of that bond was simple: stay out of trouble. Don't get charged with anything new. He didn't make it a week. Just days after bonding out of the Nashville case, Eatherly was involved in a shooting outside the Montgomery County Courthouse in Clarksville, Tennessee. According to Eatherly's own account on stream, he got into a verbal altercation with a black man named Joshua Fox. Eatherly claimed Fox threatened him, then physically attacked him, and that he only opened fire because he was defending himself. He even said on camera that he ended up accidentally shooting himself in the arm during the struggle. Fox was hit and rushed by helicopter to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, where he underwent life-saving surgery. Eatherly was charged with attempted murder. Bond in that case alone was set at $1 million, later reported even higher, around $1.25 million. And because that new charge violated the terms of his Nashville bond, his entire legal situation in 2 different counties collided at once. Now here's where it gets serious, because this week in a Davidson County courtroom, prosecutors didn't just talk about the shooting, they walked through the actual surveillance footage from the courthouse. According to courtroom testimony, the video shows shots being fired before Eatherly and Fox even hit the ground. Investigators pointed to a shell casing ejecting from the firearm and a ricochet striking a nearby concrete planter. And based on that physical evidence, the investigator testified that Fox had not yet been hit at that point in the footage. Read that again. The shots fired moment in the video appears to come before the physical struggle Eatherly described as the reason he had to defend himself. A Montgomery County Sheriff's Office detective went even further in his testimony, saying the pattern of Eatherly's behavior leading up to that day sounded premeditated, like he intended to kill somebody, not like a man who was suddenly forced into self-defense. That's the moment this stopped being 2 guys got into it and someone pulled a gun. That's the moment it became a story about whether this was planned content dressed up as a confrontation. So this week, Eatherly was back in a Nashville courtroom, not for the shooting charge itself, but for the original Nashville misdemeanor cases tied to the restaurant incident. His attorney, Jacob Fendley, tried a different angle. He argued the court should also weigh the threats Eatherly says he's received online, including, according to Fendley, threats of violence directed at his infant son. The defense wanted the judge to see Eatherly not just as someone accused of violence, but also as someone who's been targeted. It didn't work. Judge Melissa Blackburn revoked his bond in the Nashville cases entirely, citing what she'd seen on social media along with his overall behavior. In plain terms, the same content that built his following is now the same content being used in court to keep him locked up. His attorney has also filed a motion to dismiss the Nashville charges altogether, but that fight wasn't even addressed during this hearing. That fight is still ahead of him. And here's the part that might be the most uncomfortable detail in this entire case. Even after the shooting, even after the arrest, he raised more than $300,000 through an online fundraising campaign, claiming he'd lost everything after being arrested in 2 different counties and needed help getting back on his feet and exploring his legal options. The platform he used only allows fundraising for serious criminal charges like attempted murder to go specifically towards legal defense, meaning that money is restricted to a trust for his case, not just general living expenses. And courts have made clear that crowdsourced donations generally can't be used to post bond, since there's no way to verify where that money is actually coming from. So picture the full picture here. A man accused of shooting someone outside a courthouse, accused of building an entire monetized brand around racist content, is now sitting in jail while still pulling in hundreds of thousands of dollars from people who chose to send it to him. So where does this actually leave things? Eatherly is still being held in Montgomery County on that $1 million-plus bond in the attempted murder case. His Nashville bond is now revoked entirely. He's facing the possibility of decades in prison if convicted on the attempted murder charge alone. And the video that was supposed to disappear into a self-defense claim instead became the exact piece of evidence that may keep him behind bars the longest. So here's the real question. Was this a man defending himself in a moment of panic, or a man who built his entire career provoking outrage and finally provoked the wrong moment on camera? Drop your take in the comments, and if you want to follow exactly what happens at his next hearing, make sure you're subscribed, because this case is far from finished.